Yes.
So good afternoon, everybody. This is Pastor Din. Great to be back on here again, and I'm here with the creator of Hot Cocoa on a Rainy Day, Karen Ascarali, and one of my childhood friends from school, one of my dear friends, Zyda, is on as well. So I'd like to just introduce you both. Maybe you could say a few words, and then we'll dive right into it.
Well, thank you for introducing us, Din. And just to remind everyone, Din is a pastor who is based in Miami. And he has done a couple of interviews with us before. So he's going through a series of interviews with each one of the authors who has contributed in Hot Cocoa on a Rainy Day. So thank you, Din, and it's all yours.
Okay, great. And Zyda, before we jump in, I thought maybe I'd just give you the floor for a bit and just introduce yourself and maybe even talk a little bit about that blog you started, because I think the public would love to know about that as well.
Hi Karen, hi Din.
Hi.
Well, I know you as Dinesh.
Then say it that way.
A while back, maybe 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I started a blog because so many people had asked me what I go through as a lupus patient. And I keep telling people I'm not only a lupus patient, but I have a number of other things that are happening to me. And right now, as you can see, I'm still on the bed. I have to be on the bed because I have a circulation problem in my brain and an active thyroid. And every time I get up, my pressure goes up and my pulse goes down. I just had an episode, just showered, and the heartbeat was what, 40, 45, which is really low.
Okay. All right. Well, Zyda, all the more reason then why, we're so grateful for you making time to do this with us. And I just want to applaud you for the courage you've shown to commit words to paper, to immortalize your journey and what you've done. And I just have to say too that something that stuck out to me, even as what felt like a piling on, right? Well, my goodness, what's next type thing you kept looking at. Through it all, you never lost your faith in God, and you never gave up on fighting that good fight, both you and Derek. And I'd like to applaud you guys for that, because it takes a lot of courage to do that. And as an animal lover myself, I know how important Coco must be to you, because to me they're like our children. Oh, she is?
Yes, she doesn't leave my side.
Oh, that's amazing. So Zyda, if you could share with me a little bit about when you heard about this project, what made you decide, well, yeah, maybe it's time for me to commit to paper, what it is my life has been like.
Well, actually, I was very honored that Karen had asked me to do this. I've been fighting with this for so long, and to actually put it in paper, it just felt right. It was my legacy, or piece of my legacy.
Right.
To show people how strong I am battling this. And if it wasn't for the support of my family, and especially my husband, Derek, I don't think I would have been here. And not only my family, but the prayers that they say for me every night. That's what that is what have me here today.
Amen.
I truly believe that.
Well, if it's any consolation, just know you've been prayed over all day today. Here's where I'm going with this, and here's what I'm trying to do. So many of us go through life and we take so many things for granted, right? Being able to open your eyes every day, or get out of bed, or go for a run, or eat a meal, or take a shower, right? And sometimes, you know, we think about the stimulus that we have, that is this thing called life, that kind of helps to shape and mold who we are, right? But what is life and what is meaning when you strip these things away one at a time? What is my humanity after I've gone through this? Okay, well, what about this and that? And then compound all of it together. And Zyda, I think that is what your life is. So if we had to put your life in a funnel and all these things had to be shaken out, right? What are you left with? How would you describe that in your own words?
I'd been left with my old self,
Okay.
which was a bubbly person. I used to get things done really fast. I used to cook a meal in like an hour. Now it takes me all day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I never saw it as a weakness, or sometimes I did feel emotional and asked God, you know, I thought I had reached my threshold, but it's coming. And I know he doesn't give you more than you can handle. But sometimes I really have to ask him, what is he doing? You know?
Right.
But like I said, I didn't garner weakness from what I have. I look back and I think that, wow, I got through all of this. And, you know, you guys don't even have a clue of some of the things I've gone through. The depressions are bad, really bad. And I've tried to commit suicide twice because I felt my husband is young enough to have a new wife, and my daughter was old enough to take care of herself. So what was my purpose here? I completely lost my purpose. And when it didn't work, I said, okay, he has something in store for me to do still.
Amen. Think of our discussion today, Zyda, as a time capsule, right? And what Karen is doing with hot cocoa on a rainy day is bring together good feelings, right? And good feelings that will survive all of us. And the reason I use the term time capsule is I still remember that silly girl in high school that couldn't say 25 minutes before 8, so she would say 5 past, half past. Or who couldn't count numbers in her head quickly to save her life. And
Yes.
she would just have this look, right? And that is the Zyda that I'm seeing in front of me right now. And nothing about what life dishes will ever change that in my mind. You probably heard so many times, you know, you have to fight the good fight or count your blessings. And I know there are days where, okay, well, how much more, right? And that's what I heard. And thank you, by the way, for admitting and sharing with us that, you know, I know suicide's no joke, but it goes to show, you know, just how overwhelming this thing could be, right?
With the amount of pain I had at that time, it was on a scale of 1 to 10, it was like 100.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I need to get myself out of this misery. And that was the only thing I could think about at the time.
Right, absolutely. So as you were closing your story with Karen and for this collection, did you think about what type of an impression you wanted to leave the reader with? What do you want them to walk away with after reading your story?
Well, everybody goes through their own problems. And I wanted them to see that their problems could be worse than mine, but they could have the same strength to go through. And I truly believe that once you have a connection to God, you get so much strength. And I know that maybe I didn't impart how much a large part of faith is for me in the story, but faith has gotten me through a lot of times, really bad times.
Yes, amen.
Can I interject a little bit here, Din?
Yes, please.
I would like to let our listeners know that Zyda she wants even more than that, because at the end of her story, she even wrote an extra piece that I call Lanya in the book. And it was a piece where she urged people, so whether she mentioned challenges greater than hers, and it's kind of difficult to imagine somebody having greater challenges than that. But she also spoke to people who may have less challenges, or somebody who may have a nice, easy breezy life. What she was telling them at the end of it all, and I'm saying this because I really want to highlight her story. She at the end of it all, what she did is she encouraged people to recognize that the good things in life are not necessarily things that you have to purchase, that you need money for, and that we take things as simple as being able to breathe for granted. And she was just reminding us in that lanyard that we have to appreciate every single thing. And Zyda, I just want to tell you that while you may think that it didn't come across that you were sharing from a faith perspective, it came across to me. And I'm sure some of your readers will get it too. Yeah. Yes, Jen, that's the thanks.
Okay, yeah, good. Thank you, Karen. I think that's really powerful. The other piece of your story that I thought you had mentioned, and it was more in passing, but you talked about things you would like to do, like a bucket list, right?
Oh, so, I had my bucket list, and I've done most of it on it because of my husband.
Amen. So what else is on your list that you haven't done yet?
I think my bucket list is done. So we're moving on to Chrissy's bucket list now.
Oh, Chrissy's your daughter, right?
Yeah, Chrissy's my daughter. And so we're moving on to her bucket list. And one of the things that she wanted was to open her own practice. She's a child therapist using animal-assisted therapy. She wanted to move to England, open her own practice, buy a house, buy a car. And she's done all that.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, and she's 27. She's only 27. Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
Well, that's also our legacies, our children, right? And that's a big part of this.
Yes, so and I'm so proud of her, you know.
Yeah, amen.
I think the biggest thing for me was leaving my mark on this earth through making my daughter a person who this world would like and who would help with being a good force in all the climate changes and everything that's going on.
Yes,
And she
absolutely.
is, so I'm so proud of her.
Yes, absolutely. So in closing, because I really don't have too much more I wanted to share, and I get the impression that I don't want to tax you too much. I really appreciate you giving us time. What if we were to interview your daughter today, right? What do you think she would say about her mother in terms of lessons learned and how she's applying those in her life today?
Maybe
I'm
I should
going
let
somewhere with this.
you answer this. I think she has seen everything that I've gone through.
Right.
And she has become a very strong person, both in faith and in her everyday life. Things that I never thought she would do, she does, Chrissy has a gift with kids and animals. And I always told her, you got a gift. Make sure you use it in whatever career that you do.
Mm-hmm.
I think she will say she's happy that I'm around. She wants me to cook for her and give her chin kisses. She's so strong, and that I think she got from me. She doesn't have patience like me. Like I don't. Derek has the patience for the two of us, patience. She's a happy child, and that's all I wanted.
Right.
I wanted for her to be happy. And even though she has seen so much of what I've gone through, it hasn't fazed her. I think she appreciates life even more now because of it.
Right. And I think in a very real way, that gives you a glimpse, I think, of what the readers will get, Zyda, from your story especially, right? I love that Karen paints this imagery of being cuddled up with a nice book on a rainy day and drinking a hot cup of cocoa. That is such a beautiful visual, and it's something I think we always strive to be, is where's my happy place, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a very common thread with most people. And I think as they go through, and we used this term before with another author, but we talk about threads and tapestries of life and how you get to weave your story into that. I think you're going to touch more lives than you even realize based on what you had the courage to share. And when it comes to patience, I know that what you've had to deal with throughout your life has probably given you that perspective as well, to know, okay, in the midst of all of that, I'm not letting go of my personality because I'm still not patient, right? And I admire that, Zyda.
I have gotten a little better in time.
That's good.
My husband says I've gotten a lot better.
That's fantastic. So I'm going to pull Karen in here just for a quick moment, because Karen, when the book does come out and it is ready for launch, could you speak a little bit to, and again, rough estimate, nothing precise necessarily, but what's the timeline and how would folks be able to purchase this book?
Right, and well, that's a really good question. I myself don't have a date. I can tell you this much, that hopefully, because 2020 has just been doing its own thing, but
Yes.
hopefully before the end of the year, I should have it ready for launch. Hopefully it will be a little before that, but I've had some issues with the publisher, and as a result, it's something I'll probably talk about later on. But right now it's too fresh and it's too raw for me to talk about it. So I'm going to estimate by the end of the year that I'll have the book ready. And when it's ready, we can get an ebook. We can also get a print version, and we can get it on Amazon.com. And for people who are right here in Trinidad, they can get it directly from me. So I will be bringing in some copies of the book as well. I think that covers it. I would like to just add one last thing, sorry. The book it starts off with a story that's about an entrepreneur, and it takes us through a whole range of different challenges that people had to deal with. Right. Just as Zyda herself, Zyda's story is the second story in the book, and her story, we didn't even tell you all here. Zyda, you didn't even mention it, but she talked about the lupus, but in her story, you see so many other things. There was RA, am I correct?
Yeah.
RA,
scleroderma, lung fibrosis, diabetes, coronary artery disease, some DVTs in there. And I was just diagnosed recently, about 2 weeks ago, with a circulation problem in my brain, where some of the veins and the arteries have narrowed so much that I have problems walking because I'm not getting enough oxygen. I have problems bringing material out of my brain and actually saying what I want to say. And I've also been diagnosed with an underfunctioning thyroid, underactive, sorry. And that thyroid has made me put on 30 pounds in 3 months. And that gets me depressed. My weight gets me depressed.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what we haven't shared with everyone, and we will do after this interview, is I am going to, with Derek's help and with Karen's help, we're going to pray for our friend Zyda here. So Zyda, without this going much longer, I'd just like to thank you so much for making time on a day like this, and I wish you all the best until we meet again. Because I definitely, next time I come back, I'd love to, catch up with you in person.
Yeah, you'll have to come by me for dinner.
Oh, amen, yes.
And Derek's cooking.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, well, thank you, everybody.
And thank you, Din.